Everybody jumping out of their mind. Everybody.
So one of the first real strengths that I saw within the alpha gameplay that was shown to us was how meaty, unique and different all of the weapons sounded. It was absolutely brilliant to see this, because State of Decay 2 also did a very good job in that, but this time it's really been refined. A lot of the sounds of the weapons really sound hard and punchy when you hear that AK sound, and also the GS assault rifle that he showed in here as well. They sound very, very heavy, very, very deep. Some of the pistols sound a little bit lighter, as you would expect, and it just makes every weapon sound very unique and interesting, and it was brilliant to see, because I absolutely loved it in State of Decay 2, and in this game it's just been taking that one step further, which is absolutely brilliant.
Going out of their skin, see we get to the end, but that's where we begin, you feel it? Mannequins and we breaking the mold.
So one thing I'm also very happy about is the way that plague nests operate. Essentially, the very simple version of it is that there are multiple different little nests around, and there's a main heart in the middle. You have to destroy the little nests to then get to the middle bit, which is the brain of the whole nest. And once you destroy that, you have then won against that infected bit of the area. Of course, I've heard rumours that apparently it can come back, which I quite like that, so you have to do some preventative tours over there to kind of cull the zombie population a little bit. But one thing that I was kind of worried about in regards to this system was that it would be quite tedious. Obviously with State of Decay 2 we had one plague heart, and essentially you would just whack that a bunch of times. It had 3 phases for a normal heart. I think it was about 5 phases for a black heart, which could only happen when the relevant curveball was active. What I was worried about is that would basically be the case, but you'd have to then do it 5 times to remove a nest. Thankfully it isn't. The actual supporting hearts around the main nest brain, if you will, they take about 2 hits with the katana that the person playing with has. And I really like that, because the way that it's laid out is that you kind of have to walk around the whole facility, but then make some room for 2 swings of your katana, which then removes the outer hearts, so you can get to the main one and destroy the infestation. I like that because it basically makes you have to tour the facility, so you see everything, all of this glorious map, which looks absolutely stunning, even on just medium graphics, which is what he's playing with. And it also makes it so that you have to basically strafe these zombies, sort of like in Call of Duty zombies. You have to basically run away from them, dodge them. Again, like you're seeing in the gameplay, there's a lot of this really cool kind of dodging mechanics and takedowns and sort of slides where you can knock their legs from under them and get them on the floor and then execute them, or you can just choose that time to run away. Obviously, with State of Decay 3, there's now a whole different system where you can go up as well. In State of Decay 2, unless there was a ladder or something very obvious to climb, even then very janky, you couldn't really climb up these levels. But obviously with this infestation here, he's making use of all of these different levels to escape zombies, climbing through windows, all sorts of things like that. Really, really cool to see, and I like the way it's not grindy, it's not tiring, it's fast paced, and it gets you looking at all of the sights there are to see on this glorious large map.
Breaking out and we breaking the codes. Similar to the jack who stole to the depths in your web, so you take it.
So one of the systems I really wasn't expecting is that now fellow survivors and allies, NPCs or not, can also revive you now, which is a very, very cool change. I really like that. In State of Decay 2, essentially your allies were just good for trading, and occasionally they would give you missions that you could choose to accept, and that would give you influence and things like that you could use to buy bases and other resources with when you were doing trade with them. But this is a very, very interesting and cool mechanic, and what you might even be able to do is basically choose your allies and who you want to be friendly with in comparison to the map. And what I mean by that is that if you have a plague nest that you want to try and conquer and you have a lot of allies around that, maybe then as you lure the zombies from out of the plague nest, and you do get downed like the player does in this video and then revived by the NPC, that can potentially happen a lot more, where because you're fighting them near the NPC's turf, they would be within your range and they would come over to try and help you, and then if worse came to worse, maybe they would then help you. That's a very, very interesting mechanic. I didn't expect to see it, but it's a really, really cool one. And this is something that I think they can do a lot with. Yeah, really, really cool. And yeah, I loved it when I saw it.
So get it out, send your body to flight. Everybody got a target tonight. Everybody.
What I also really respected as well is that the game no longer sort of holds your hand, which I felt it did a lot of during State of Decay 2. When you are looting. And what I mean by that, in this clip we see the player go into a food market, and as you can see, unlike State of Decay 2, not all of the boxes that you can loot are highlighted, and it also doesn't tell you how many lootable items there are within the store. So what that means is that you have to really spend your time searching for these things, because you could be leaving something behind, and if you leave it behind, then who knows what you may have missed. It feels a lot more like a survival game when it does this, and I do like the change. I was a little bit unsure of it at first, to be honest, because there were quite a few boxes that I was looking for a while for in State of Decay 2, mainly the houses, and you would have that sort of fuel jerry can outside of the house that they would put there. And I was always looking in the house going, where the hell is the 6 out of 6 boxes, because I've only looted 5, and I couldn't for the life of me find it. But because it told me it was there, I kept on looking for it. But I kind of felt like that took away a little bit of the immersion, being that now I knew everything about that house. Before I had even looked in it, I knew exactly how many boxes were there, what resources I was getting from it. And I really like the new system in place where you don't know how much you can loot from it, so how many resources are there, but also where they are as well, because it's not so obvious. Yeah, really, really like it, and it just makes it that whole much more immersive of, I'm going into this world that's been picked. I don't know where the loot is, but I have to go in, I have to find it, and there are zombies walking around while I'm trying to find all this stuff. So yeah, really, really cool change. So now we're going to have a look at the things that I didn't like so much about the alpha. What I want to say, obviously, first of all, is that it's an alpha. So I'm aware that things aren't going to be polished. It's not even in the beta stage, it's in the alpha stage. I'm obviously aware of that. These are just things that if anybody from Undead Labs views it, that I would pass on as feedback personally. Not that I think they will, but, you know, just to put it out there. So yeah, like I say, I'm aware it's a beta, I'm aware it's not the finished product. I'm not just saying, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and completely blind to the fact that it's not a finished product and it was never shown as a representation of what the finished product would be. So I just want to say that out of all the things I've seen, I'm very, very impressed with how far it is. From the trailers, I knew it was quite far along, but yeah, this is just solidified it in my head as something that is going to be a really, really good game. So I mean, the main thing I want to start off with is the way that weapons are held when you're in the shooting mode. When you're just in the travel mode and you're running around, I love the fact that you can run around with your weapons equipped and drawn. Obviously in State of Decay 2 you can't do that, which I really don't like, and I like the fact that they hold it like I'd imagine somebody with tactical training would. Remember, this game is set further on in the apocalypse, where survivors now have had to go through 3 phases where, you know, State of Decay, there was some loot, there were plentiful cars and everything. State of Decay 2, a little bit harder to find, you know, with cars and loot, you had to go searching a little harder for it. And now State of Decay 3, you know, nests have formed, so they're obviously, the zombies are starting to, in a way, have a commander, which is what basically the nest is. It commands them to advance and attack your base, so now they're a little bit more organised, and again there's even less sort of loot. Less loot means it's going to be more of a challenge to live in. If it's more of a challenge to live in, you're going to be getting harder, more trained survivors, and I like this change because it makes them feel like they've lived through it a little bit more than some of the other ones, say in the first and second game. And now you have the best of the best left, if you will. But when they are in the shooting mechanic, like you can tell me that I'm wrong, but when they're in the shooting animation, I can't tell what gun they're shooting. The MP5 is an outlier to this, and what I'm hoping is that the MP5 has basically been moved to the correct position, which is one similar to how they were holding it when they were firing in State of Decay 2, and the other guns just simply haven't gotten to that stage where they've put the other guns in the correct position when they're firing. I know even when the alpha gameplay was submitted to YouTube, that it was already, I think, even 1 or 2 months old. I think it was an older one there. But yeah, that's basically what I'm hoping has changed, because I do like to see the gun as I am shooting it. But like I say, it's an alpha. Chances are it's probably going to get patched way before the game releases, or it's one of those things like the UI, for example, that they are going to look at getting sorted out.
Everything getting harder to find. Everybody jumping out of their mind. Everybody going out.
So yeah, that's basically what I think about State of Decay 3 as of what we know now. I'm extremely excited for this game. I've played the second one for a long time. And yeah, I've had so many hours of enjoyment with it. Obviously, the main problem with the second one is that while after all the updates, what it does very well, but it doesn't do a lot, which is why it can be quite hard to play it for a long period of time, which is why I'm so excited for State of Decay 3, because it's just going to give so much more immersion. There's so much to explore. There is so much more to do in terms of the crafting, the base building. You can have 3 bases in this game now, which I think is just so cool. All of the plague nests and how you're going to survive that, and all of the customization options and everything like that. And obviously, with Undead Labs, they have a very good track record of supporting their games and just not just abandoning it and going, yeah, we made the money, let's go. And again, any DLCs or anything that they put, I'll probably buy it, to be fair. But yeah, overall, I'm very excited for this game. I could have included more criticisms about glitches and things we saw, but that's just going to be unfair because it is an alpha. That's what you expect. And big respect for Undead Labs for actually letting someone show unfiltered raw gameplay, especially after all the silence that we've had as well. I did get quite worried for this game, but you know, with the glitches and things, they're going to happen in alpha. The guy even says it before he starts the video, look, it's an alpha, you're going to see little bits of jank here and there, but that's expected, and he's absolutely right, it is. And you know, this game is still, depending on when in 27 it releases, it still could be about a year out. You know, if you'd have shown me this game and said, oh, we've got 4 months until release, I would have gone, you know, you could probably get it done in that time and it'd be a sellable game, but a year gives them plenty of time. So I think these guys are very realistic as to their game, or when they can get it completed by. And from what we've seen, it looks absolutely phenomenal, and I'm so excited to jump into it. Hopefully they sort out the gun issue. Like I say, I'm sure they will, and if it hasn't been done now, which I think it might be, then it's going to be one of those things that are to do. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal. Can't wait to go into this game. Let me know in the comments what you think about it, what you think you were a little bit worried about, if anything, and what you think you liked, because there was a lot I liked with this game. The sound design, the new movement system, the nests. There's just absolutely so much to look at there, and we haven't even been treated to all of the goodies as well. There's still base building, survivors enclaves, which obviously what we saw with survivors being able to get you up. You know, these guys I think are going to be very useful to have around, and so it's going to be very interesting when Undead Labs give us some more juice on what's going on with them. But yeah, can't wait to go into the game. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, cheers guys, see ya.
Everything getting harder to find. Everybody jumping out of their mind. Everybody going out of their skin. See, we get to the end, but that's where we begin. You feel